Oh my goodness, man. I just love it. I'm so excited to be back and to be talking to a great guy like the one and only Robert McCollum. Oh my goodness. Voice actors are just something special.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. You might not recognize his face, but I assure you, you have heard his voice,
Oh, for sure.
especially if you're an anime fan. And he dives deep into that because, it's not just doing animated cartoons. Anime is a whole different world. And he talks about the differences between sub actors and he goes deep. And I really love that because I did not know a lot of that information. So it was very informative for me. I think
I was
you
so
guys,
happy.
yeah,
I was so happy.
I think you guys are going to love it. And then, of course, he right now is also being affected by the current writer's strike and the potential actor strike. It will affect voice actors as well. So we dive deep into that. You guys are going to love this interview.
It's so freaking amazing. I'm so excited for everybody to hear it, but that's later on the show. Now let's get a little crazy. I said it that time.
You did.
Okay. I said it.
Yeah. And I heard it.
I love it. They're on. Oh, my goodness. What's up, everybody? Oh, my goodness. Episode 225. We're here, and we're ready to get a little crazy.
Yes.
You guys know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mal.
What's up?
Guys, oh, my goodness. It's going to be a wild show. But before we get into anything and everything that's going down in Hollywood, first, let me talk to you about leaving a rating, comment, and of course, sharing this podcast to all your friends. Like I said, comment below. Tell us what you actually think about the show, because leaving a rating and sharing this podcast helps more people see this podcast, especially those who are trying to break into the entertainment industry and those who just love entertainment news.
Yes.
Staying up to date with anything and everything that is going down in Hollywood, because we got you. Well, this week we are doing something a little bit different for our industry news segment. We will not be going forth and talking about all the studio stuff. We will be talking about all of the potential strikes that may or may not be happening. And right now, of course, we're talking about the WGA strike that is well underway. Well, the DGA is in negotiations, and SAG-AFTRA is also right now asking their unions to vote yes or no whether or not they would go on strike.
Yeah.
So it's going to be absolutely crazy. And like we've talked about on previous shows, SAG-AFTRA is a very divided union. So we're going to get all into that.
Oh, yeah.
But man, before we tease the rest of the show, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. You see the mug? You see the mug? Not over here. Well, you see the mug right here. It matches the shirt, and you can get that on our website right now at crazyantmedia.com. And you also have to follow us at ITCAFpodcast and at Crazy Ant Media, so you know when you can get those promotional sales.
Yes.
I mean, it's very important, guys. With birthdays coming up, I know a lot of summer babies are about to be turning 1 year older than their previous age, and they need something to feel a little crazy in a good way, not a bad way.
No,
because as we learned from supervillains, this guy is maybe a little crazy in a bad way, but it's fine. It's fine. Go back and listen to that top 5 segment if you have not yet.
That just plays into this week's top 5 segment about doing so amazingly awesome at something that's just not normally my type.
I mean,
I'm not a bad guy, but I can play one.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Well, let's dive into this industry news. Like I said, we'll be talking about all of the unions this week. And let's start off with the biggie, the one that's well underway, the WGA. Now, the Writers Guild of America argued this week that the strike will end up costing the studios more if it goes on to weeks and months, and it would cost the writers, it would cost to agree to the writers' demands as well. Now, in an email to members, the WGA negotiating committee said it was proposing that this would cost an estimated $429 million per year. Now, the Guild argued that the modest is compared to the billions spent on content every year and the billions in revenues earned every year by the major entertainment companies. Now, the WGA also broke down the cost of its proposals by studios. Now, according to the Guild's estimates, the WGA proposes that it would cost Disney nearly $75 million per year, Netflix $68 million per year, Warner Brothers Discovery around $47 million per year, Paramount Global $45 million, NBC Universal $34 million, Amazon 32 million, Sony 25 million, and Apple with 17 million. Now, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which negotiates on behalf of the studios, as we've been telling you, has previously raised doubts about the WGA
Of
resumes.
course
Of
they have.
course they have. Why wouldn't they? And the WGA is seeking increased streaming residuals and substantial hikes in minimum pay scales as well. Now, among their monetary items. Now, it is also seeking a significant provisions regarding the way the TV is made, arguing that the studios should employ a minimum number of writers over a minimum period of time, and that writers should be hired throughout the production and the editing process. Because, like we've said, and you guys know, we are a film and television production company, you are writing nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
So this makes complete sense.
Yeah, now it's very interesting to me, that breakdown of money,
Yeah.
because Disney's was the most, right?
was.
75 million. Guys, if this strike continues to linger, you've heard us since the strike began, over the last 2 or 3 weeks on this show, we've been telling you this has been shut down. This has been shut down. This production has been. How much money do you think that they're losing while those productions are sitting in stall, right? 75 million, maybe. And that's all they're asking for. It would cost 75 million per year. Now, of course, the studios are saying those estimates are off and it would cost way more.
Yeah.
But even if that's true, even if it were to cost a little bit more than what the writers are saying it would cost, it's still significantly less than, like we said, the billions of dollars that they have spent on content. Look, Disney is slashing content spending, right? $30 billion on content last year alone. We just saw Warner Brothers Discovery do that, cutting their spending on content. I mean, it only makes sense. If you're spending $30 billion on content, how are writers that are helping create that content not getting paid?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and we're seeing the effects of it as well, because, all of these shows who are in their either first season or second season, or, we talked about it last week with a lot of these first look deals being suspended at the moment, which only makes sense because you can't move forward if you don't have those writers in the writer's room. But specifically for the shows that got that one season, there's one in particular that we really liked, which is The Company You Keep, with a whole bunch of great cast members and great crew as well that just really supported this thing. But it kind of, this has been happening to us this past couple of years, where it feels like we hop on this show, a new show that we're like really ready for. We're really excited for where they're going with the story, but then it gets canceled after the first season. And that has a lot to do with how much it costs and the viewership, because this one, it was so successful. A lot of people were watching it. I'm talking about The Company You Keep again. And it got canceled first season due to the writer's strike and not going forward with it.
Well, see, and I think you're right. I think that plays into the whole where these studios initially, and I'm talking about Bob Chapek, not Iger, but Chapek, under his reign, and of course Zaslav and everything. Initially, it was about quantity over quality. It was like boom, 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 spend like crazy, make as much shit as you can, and fill our streamers because we need content. The problem with that is that quality shows cost money. Those have significant budgets. But when you're spending 30 billion on a bunch of shit, you don't have the money to spend on the quality shows. So the quality shows get canceled because they're too expensive to make.
Yeah.
Hopefully, now that we're seeing these cutbacks on spending and they're eliminating a bunch of, and they're going back to the quality over quantity, some of these quality shows can be saved. Another example of this, of cost, like shows being too expensive, the CW saying they're moving on from superhero shows because superhero shows have had their time.
Yep.
Yet, the highest rated show on the network, Superman and Lois, consistently number 1 or number 2 every week in the ratings for as long as it's been on. Superhero shows have had their time, but it's your number 1 show. But it is expensive to make. So they're making decisions based on money. And I don't know this thing. And by the way, we should talk about this. We're hearing like every week about all these shows being shut down. Guys, these shows aren't being shut down because of the writers not being there. It is being shut down because of the writers' strike. But I want to clarify, it's not because the writers aren't there. These shows' scripts were already finished. These shows are being shut down because Teamsters, who are the majority of the crew, make up the crew, are refusing to cross the picket line in support of the writers. Therefore, they're not showing up for work, and you can't do a show without a crew. And even though the Teamsters aren't on strike, they are refusing to cross the picket line in solidarity. So they're having to shut down productions, and they're not even on strike. So what happens when they do go on strike? What's the next union, right? So let's jump to that one. Let's jump to what's happening right now. This week, SAG-AFTRA's national board voted unanimously to recommend to the union's members to authorize a strike in advance of its upcoming negotiations for the new film and TV contract. Now, a statement posted on its website read, in anticipation of the union's forthcoming TV and theatrical contract negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which begins June 7th, guys, it's right around the corner, just a couple weeks, the SAG-AFTRA National Board agreed unanimously to recommend that to its members to vote to authorize a strike. Now, an affirmative vote does not mean a strike would necessarily happen, but it would allow the national board to call a strike if it's deemed necessary during the negotiation processes. I'm just going to go on the record before I even finish this and say that first day is not going to go the way they want, and they are going on strike. Mark my words, they are going on strike. The action comes following, of course, unanimous agreement by the TV Theatrical Negotiation Committee that the strike authorization would give the union maximum bargaining power and leverage as it enters into the round of negotiations. Now, SAG-AFTRA represents more than 160,000 entertainment and media professionals. Now, get this, guys. SAG-AFTRA hasn't actually been on strike since the film and TV industry merged SAG and AFTRA back in 2012. And the last strike against the studios from just SAG before the merger was all the way back in 1980. Wow. And that one was more than 3 months, a 95-day walkout that established contract terms for pay TV and VHS rentals. Because back then, it was all just network television. Mm-hmm. So they were like, hey, wait a minute. HBO exists now. Showtime exists now. And we're making movies for there. And you guys are banking. And by the way, people are renting these movies now on these things called videotapes. We want money for that too. So it took 95 days for them to get fairly paid for those. Mm-hmm. So what is the transition now, right? Now it's gone from just regular movie distribution to, okay, you saw it at the movies and that was it, to movies being on network television, to movies being made on television for cable, to movies being made for and distributed after theaters, to videotapes. Well, the next progression now is streaming. Movies are being made not just for the theater, but for streamers, and television shows are being made for streamers. And they are not being compensated for that. They are not receiving residuals the way they want to for that. So it's the same thing as back in 1980. This is a new medium, and everybody's trying to figure out how much money's being made here and how much money's being made there, and we want our cut. The thing that's different is in that 1980, the numbers were there. They were public. It's like, how much did this film make on video cassette rentals? How much did this film make when it aired on HBO? The streaming numbers are being kept private. None of the studios will reveal the profit numbers or rating numbers from these things. And so the actors and the writers, they don't have any idea how much these things are making, right? The studios are claiming that they're all losses, but is it? That can't possibly be right. So this is why I think this is going to happen, guys. I'm sorry, but this is going to happen. It is not going to go well. Right? I mean, we know it's not, because they're also arguing not just for residuals, but they're also concerned about AI. They want measures put into place that will protect them from AI being used to generate their image and put them into shows without them actually being there, or de-aging them and having them star in something that after they're gone. Tom Hanks was recently talking. He's like, who's to say after I'm dead, they won't just like make a digital copy and put me in a movie. I'll keep acting years after I'm dead. It's those type things that they want assurances on. And the studios have already said to the writers, we're not giving you shit on AI. So they're going to say to the actors, we're not giving you shit on AI. Boom, strike. So when you see the writers and the actors on strike. And at this point, the Teamsters unwilling to cross the line, no actors, no crew, no writers, no industry.
Yeah,
period. I mean,
exactly.
you can't have that. Like, so this is where it's going, guys. This is where it's going.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy because I mean, the only way that they are able to kind of track if a show or movie is kind of successful, specifically on Netflix, is they pop it up on, on their platform, #1 in the US this week, or so on and so forth, especially whatever region they are in. And of course, there's that Nelson data as well. But I mean, I feel like, maybe they don't necessarily can see how much a show is getting traction. Sometimes I feel like that is a big possibility because why are they so reluctant to show those numbers? I feel like that is the biggest thing. Why are you so terrified to put that out there? So, I mean, it's very interesting. And I mean, it hasn't really been coming into the conversation until the last few years when all of these streaming services started popping up. That's when everybody's been kind of more hush hush, but there's more questions coming out about what the numbers actually are. But I will make a prediction though. I feel like if one union does go on strike and resolves it quicker than others, I feel like it will be SAG-AFTRA because Fran is a very perceptive person, and I feel like, she doesn't want this quote unquote bad mark on her representation while she is leading SAG-AFTRA. So I feel like she would try to get that shit resolved very quickly, no matter what it does. But I mean, with that being said, though, if she tries to get it resolved very quickly and she thinks it's a good deal, SAG-AFTRA is a huge freaking union, guys. So
Well,
there's a
yeah.
majority of them that probably will not go her way. So that one right there is going to be something we are definitely going to keep an eye
Well,
on because you never know how long it's actually going to be. So yeah.
I think you were exactly right there. A couple of things with what you just said. One, we talk about it all the time on the show, these numbers where they say a certain show was watched for 140 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
What is the algorithm that determines how much watch time is it? How do you determine 140 hours? What is generating that? Like, I don't understand. How are they tracking that? And they won't reveal that. We just have to take their word that it was watched for those many hours. What does that even fucking mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, are there people from Nielsen with books like they do for regular network television writing down, I watched this episode for 4 hours, I watched this episode? Because that's how Nielsen tracks the regular TV stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's happening for streaming. So
no, because of that other number that we've been throwing out there, that statistic where you used to have 150 new shows come out every year, but now there's nearly 600 new shows that come out every single year. There's no way people are watching every single one of those
to track hours watched. I just don't know. And the other thing, I agree with you. I think that Fran is very guarded. She's going to want to resolve this thing quickly. There's no doubt. But guys, when she was outside the picket line and basically said, we're not arguing for the same things as the writers. We don't think a strike is necessarily, although she sure changed tune on that when they voted to authorize 2 strike. They haven't yet, but they're going to, guys. Everybody we know, all of our friends in the business, all of the actors that we know personally, they're all voting yes. And I think the vast majority are going to vote yes to strike. But my thing is, you're right. It's a very divided union. So if they're at the bargaining table and Fran's like, oh yeah, this is good, I'm happy with this, it still has to be ratified by the members. And half the members are probably not going to agree to it because half the members have come out saying, what the fuck is she talking about? We don't want to strike. We're not fighting for the same things. Yes, we are fighting for the same things. So there you go. Half the members are probably not going to ratify an agreement, even if she comes to one.
Yeah.
So that could be a problem.
But I mean, SAG-AFTRA has been out with the WGA literally since day one. They've had those signs side by side literally since day one. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how that turns out. Now, the next one is also going to be very interesting because they're putting out that positive press, but you know how that goes. Perception isn't always reality. Yeah. Now, the WGA, which is the Directors Guild of America, is continuing its negotiations with the AMPTP. Now, as the companies hope to get a deal that could play a role in the ending the 2-week-old writer's strike. Now, the DGA and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers have agreed to a media blackout for a duration of their bargaining, and both have declined to comment on these matters. The talks began last Wednesday, and the DGA is focused primarily on getting a streaming residual formula that would allow members to benefit from international subscriber growth. The current formula is based in the US and Canada subscriber numbers, with about 35% bonus meant to account for the platforms for international reach, which I mean, that sounds a little shady because they're not
Right.
giving you real numbers on that one. So it could be really successful internationally and they're not telling you. The DGA is also focused on getting a outsized hike in minimum to account for the last couple of years of runaway inflation. Now, that's an interesting key point.
Oh, yeah.
Another key point is creative rights, as the guild seeks to protect the role and vision of the directors and, in particular, television directors. That one's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
The guild has said it also wants provisions on diversity, set safety, and securing the pension and health plans, none of which sounds like potential deal breakers for the AMPTP. But assuming the DGA can reach an agreement, particularly on streaming residuals, that formula could be applied to the WGA as well. Now, they brought up a very interesting thing, which is set safety. Now, I mean, if you go back to the first season of Batwoman and Ruby Rose getting really bad hurt on that set, and I mean, we have countless stories in our industry news segment that talk about all of these different actors, all of these different crew members, sometimes dying on set because things are not properly followed, or you're just really not paying attention, which leads into that. So, I mean, I feel like they're fighting for the same things, but to also bring up different aspects to fight for, I feel like is very important because it shows solidarity. You are standing together, but at the same time, it shows individualism as well, so that you are able to say, okay, once they make an agreement, that doesn't necessarily mean we've made an agreement either. So I love that.
Yeah, no, and and the safety provisions, they go even beyond just the physical things like working 16, 17-hour days and then driving home without sleep and coming back and working, things like that. We talk, but also the safety of people concerning sexual assault right, because there's been incidents where people have been abused sexually on set, or there's no intimacy person to provide like what's good and what's not when they're doing intimate scenes and things like that. So that falls under that as well, which I think they're really trying to fight for, because those have been issues in the past as well. I don't know if the DGA coming to an agreement will help yield the other two on strike, though. They are, while the residuals, they might agree to a deal on residuals that could roll over into the SAG and the WGA. I agree with that part of it, but it's the other stuff that SAG and the Writers Guild are asking for that really don't have anything to do with the directors, that I think are still going to cause. But here's what I think is going to happen. And I think it's intentional. And I think all the union heads have come to this agreement. The Writers Guild, the studios are just kind of knocking it around. If SAG joins, the studios are going to start sweating.
Yeah.
If the DGA joins and the Teamsters refuse to cross any of those lines, game over. They will be back to the table and they will give them whatever they want, because if you have no crew, no directors, no writers, and no performers, you have no Hollywood.
Yeah.
You have no shows, no movies, no nothing. So I think it's intentional. I think they will all strike. I think they will all be in solidarity, and they will all go to the studio and say, fuck you, Hollywood is shut down until you give us what we want. And the studios they have no choice at that point.
Yeah.
They will have to go back and concede and give them the majority of what they want. Otherwise, they're done. How many billions no studio, because they are all in debt, guys. Make no mistake. Every studio carries massive debt. And they cannot afford, they almost all shuttered during COVID. You think they can afford this close after COVID to shut down for another 3, 4, 5 months? They cannot. So they will go back and they will concede. I think this is planned out. I think the unions know this, and which is why they're all standing in solidarity going, you might be looking at one, but if you get two, if you get three, you guys are going to balk and you're going to come back to the table and you're going to finish. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because the studios have been relying on the system of reality television. And it's like once you get into the DGA part of it, you don't have reality television either because they are greenlighting a lot of these reality television shows because of the WGA strike. But with all of these other things happening, you don't have those things to fall back on. All you have left is reruns. So, I mean, and a lot of people are going to get really tired of those really freaking quick, especially like we said, because this will really, we won't start feeling the effects of this until the fall season. So when that fall season comes around, September, October, November, when you start watching reruns that you've seen a million times, you're going to be like, okay, I'm fucking done with this. And like the entertainment industry as a whole could take massive, massive hits just from these couple of weeks that have already happened. So imagine if they go into that month, or like the WGA did last time 15 years ago, 100 days. Imagine all the unions going on 100-day strike.
No,
it would be so freaking detrimental, honestly, to Hollywood.
It would be absolutely disastrous. Unemployment would just massively go up. I mean, remember, guys, 95% of the industry, they're not Tom Cruises. They're not making $20 million. These people are working project to project, paycheck to paycheck to feed their families, and being on strike for 90 something days, 100 days is hugely detrimental to those people and trying to feed their families. So, I mean, and it's okay. So it's not just, I want to stress this because now I want to talk about this aspect of it. It is not just the big players on big shows or on big movies working for studios. It is also us. It is small production companies. It is independent producers and independent directors. And we are being affected by it. We currently have a television series that we are trying to pitch. We have a streamer interested in such series who now won't even look at it because of the strike, because they're not buying anything right now. We were directly affected. We were moving forward full steam ahead. We were directly affected by the strike, causing us to now be delayed. We are moving forward ourselves by doing another film in between, but could potentially be affected even more so because when we go to hire our crew, we could be seeing the effects of people not wanting to cross lines, not wanting to work in solidarity for people. And when we go to cast, if we want to put a SAG actor in our film, we might not be able to because they're going to be on. So it's affecting people like us as well. We've already seen the effects of it. It's messing with what we're trying to do. And we're just a small independent production company. So it's not just the big A-listers or the people that are working for studios. This is affecting literally everybody in the industry, from where, no matter where you're at. LA, New York, Canada, all the way to North Carolina to bumfuck Egypt. If you are in the industry, if you are an up-and-comer or you are an established A-lister, you are being affected by these strikes. And it's insane.
Yeah, and I do want to say too that, not every state is a union state. So that is something, but a lot of these states who don't have union actors in them, they're still standing in solidarity.
That's
to where
exactly right.
You're not even going to get those indie projects that are coming out there, like you were just saying, or if you're any sort of unionized or just pay attention to the entertainment industry, these people are not going to participate because they want to stand together. And
it's an excellent point, because one of the biggest hubs now outside of LA is Georgia. Everything films in Georgia. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive I'm right. Georgia is a right to work state, meaning it doesn't matter if you're in a union or not. You have the right to work on any project. I guarantee you, right to work state or not, none of those people are crossing lines. Yeah. They are all standing in solidarity. So it does affect states even where the union is not prevalent. It's going to affect them regardless. So it's just, I don't know that I hope that they can come, just pay them fairly.
Yeah,
And this AI shit, it's terrifying.
it
It's
is.
absolutely terrifying. It's one thing to de-age somebody. It's another thing to put them into shit that they didn't agree to
Yeah,
because they agreed to be digitally photographed when they signed up for a show or something. That's fucking crazy. You're going
exactly.
to put somebody in there, pay them. It seems ridiculous to me that this is even an issue.
Exactly. Because I mean, there's a whole lot of different things that are happening that they don't even necessarily want to have a conversation on. So that's why I think specifically with the WGA, we're a long way away from it being gratified and to be resolved because I don't, they're on two completely different planets right now. And it's very concerning as an entertainer to be able to try to figure this out because they do need to be contemplated whatever the fuck
Compensated?
compensated. I'm so enraged by this,
No, it's
guys.
true.
But yeah, they do need to be compensated properly because I mean, a lot of us, we do just go paycheck to paycheck, project to project. So it's very important that we feel like we get what is owed to us because let's admit it, there is a lot of times that you do stay past your time to put in that after work because we love this. This is our passion. We have so much fun doing it. But at the same time, if you're not going to adequately pay the person who is putting in that time, putting in that effort for a potential award-winning project, then what are we doing? What like you need to give recognition where recognition is due. So it's something very crazy and yeah, because there's a lot of states like Texas, for example. Our guest this week, Rob McCollum, he's in Texas, and that is also a non-union state. So he is standing in solidarity with, you know, the WGA and everybody it's an absolutely insane thing and I think it's inevitably going to happen. So I mean it's something that could affect all of us in one way or another.
For months to come. And look, I just want to kind of wrap it up with this. If you don't think that these are real concerns, I tell you to download Chat GPT
Yeah.
and tell it to write something. If
Mhm.
you don't think it's a real concern for the writers, get the app and tell it to write something and watch your face fucking drop to the floor. If you don't think it's real for the actors, look up deep fake on Google or YouTube or anywhere. Watch the fucking season finale when Luke shows up to get Grogu. That's fucking deep fake. That's not Mark Hamill, y'all.
Yeah.
That was deep fake. It's real, it's terrifying, and it is a legitimate concern. And if you don't believe so, look those things up and you'll see just how real the fear is that these people can be replaced that easily by technology. It's terrifying. And to wrap it all up, like I said, it is real. And if you don't believe so, educate yourselves. As we always tell everybody, educate yourself, inform yourself before you speak stupidly on a subject you know nothing about. Educate and learn, and then we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. What do you think about this? Because I think there's a huge misconception about the entertainment industry that everybody that works in this industry is rich.
Yep.
We're all wealthy. We all just get, it's not true. In fact, it's just the opposite. The vast majority, 85, 90% or more of the industry, as I said earlier, works job to job, paycheck to paycheck. That is the fact. And if you think anything different, you're wrong. You don't know the people that you get up and walk out of the movie on, the people that scroll at the end that you pay no attention to. All those people are working job to job, paycheck to paycheck. Just saying.
Just saying. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned. Oh my goodness.
Woo!
But, man, we get into a little bit of that with Rob McCollum. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. We promise you the rant is not real like we just did, but it's all good because we need to bring you that information. Like we said, if it's going down in Hollywood, we are talking about it. But now it is time for the one and only Rob McCollum to come on the show,
Yes.
talk a little bit about Reiner Braun and Stain and a couple of other things that he has been in. Man, this guy, honestly, it was one of my favorite recent interviews. Like he was fucking amazing guy.
Oh, he's just, I mean, phenomenal. Listen, he lights up when he talks about his work and what he does. You can see you literally see the passion on his face, which is great because he's a voice actor and you never see his face.
Exactly.
So to be able to see this man light up when he's talking about what he does was just amazing. And I learned so much. I'm old school, guys. My anime was Battle of the Planets way back in the day, right? Fucking, I loved Battle of the Planets, G-Force. But that was well before Dragon Ball Z or Attack on Titan or all this modern day. So I learned so much about anime. If you're a big fan, I bet you didn't know some of the stuff, even if you are a big fan, that he clues us in on. Such an amazing interview.
It really is, man. It really is. Well, here he is. All right, and if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can check out his interview right after the show. Man, oh man, we're super excited about that. Just a great guy, like I said. But we will be bringing you some bonus content here soon. Be sure to check that out. I love always giving just a little extra anecdote in the YouTube videos. That's why we guys want you to watch the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing some more fun stuff. We're gonna be doing like guys, this one is crazy. We are literally going to rank from least to greatest, in our opinions, MCU movies. There's 32 MCU movies, and we will tell you what is our least favorite all the way up to what is our favorite. I'm super excited about that one. And we're going to do something like, how well do we know each other? I'm thinking we can get some white dry erase boards and flip them around and be
That'd be hilarious.
I think, just some fun stuff like that to bring extra content to the YouTube channel. And I mean, that's what these middle sections of the podcast is for as well. So you can get a little crazy with everything we got going on. All right. If you have video ideas as well, shoot them to us. We want to know. I mean, we love it. We love it.
And don't say that you know already because of our past top 5. Yeah, sure. You know, all the Thor movies are at the top of my list, but what are the other 29?
Yeah, exactly.
What is the order of my other 29 films? You need to know.
It's so crazy, man. It's so crazy. And I just wanted everybody to know, when we were planning out the industry news segment, we were like, okay, we got to be really good. We got to be precise. We got to not jump on each other. Did y'all see this motherfucker trying to jump on when I was talking? You were trying to do it. I think he put that out there so that he wouldn't do it. And I'm like, bro, I know you're just talking about yourself because I'm pretty good about not interrupting you. But
you know what? I'm just going to give you credit, though, for that. The only time that I kind of want to like interject is when you bring up a really solid or valid point that I want to legitimize, that I want to say, absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, it's because you fire me up about something that you said. If you were saying shit I didn't give a fuck about or just seemed like totally random, what the fuck are you saying? I'd just sit here. It's so funny. It's you get me fired up to want to talk.
It's so funny because there's certain things that you say. I'm like, I know you're just probably saying this out loud to yourself and not to me, but it's fine. It's fine. All right, guys.
Oh, wait. Before though, I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to say this too. Our podcast producer, Jason, he's phenomenal. And sometimes we just spring shit on him, like this week.
Yeah.
He works on the rundown every week, and he compiles all of our industry news and puts it together in a rundown for us and does just an amazing job. If you think that we are the best source of entertainment news, it's because of him and the hard work that he puts into it. And we just kind of sprung it on him this week. He probably doesn't know until right now that we decided to not do any of the rundown and talk about the strikes instead. So we want to go on record and say, Jason, phenomenal job with the rundown this week. You got everything in there. It was beautiful. But just because of SAG getting ready to authorize the strike authorization and the DGA, we felt like it was necessary to address what was going on with all of the strikes. So we appreciate you. You do a phenomenal job every week, buddy. Yes. And we'll be back to normal before you know it. And he's also responsible, guys, for this is a great segue. He's also very responsible for all of our top 5 lists every week. He picks the categories. This guy's got them planned out for fucking years. Yeah. So if you love the top 5s, it's Jason also that picks these categories for us. And this one was fucking tough.
Oh my goodness. It really was. Well, let's jump into it. We'll do a nice little silent break for the podcast purposes, and then we'll jump right back in. All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, man. And this one's very interesting.
Yes.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Best actors / actresses cast against known for type roles. So basically, we're looking for roles that an actor takes that is different from what they normally do, what their normal genre is. This one was very freaking hard because a lot of actors like to jump back and forth, you know? I mean, one that I really like, it was hard not to do, but I mean, he's shifted so much into the other direction, which was Steve Carell.
Oh,
You know,
I got him.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's like, he's
because
there, he's there. Sorry about blowing that for you guys.
no, but there's a reason, and I think my film that I chose for it is
I think it was the start one. I
yeah,
think that was the
that's
start.
the start. It was nothing but comedy prior to this film, and
Yeah.
now it seems like he's doing nothing but drama.
Nothing but
I chose that one.
we will. Number 5 for me is Mark Wahlberg in The Other Guys,
Oh,
which is a comedy with Will Ferrell. If you guys haven't seen it, Mark Wahlberg is actually freaking hilarious, and I don't feel like he gets enough recognition or even opportunities to do more comedies. Because I mean, if you even think about the other movie that he did with Will Ferrell, the one where he's like the real dad and
right.
Will Ferrell's the stepdad, those comedies, he is absolutely hilarious. And I mean, I feel like, you know, he feels most comfortable with Will Ferrell. It's what it seems like. But just, of course, he's a great dramatic actor, great action-packed guy, but he can also make you laugh out of your seat. So if you guys haven't seen The Other Guys, it's slapstick comedy, it's stupid humor, but it is a phenomenal fun time, and Mark Wahlberg just makes me crack up every single time. So that's why he had to go on my list. And of course, he's one of our favorite actors.
Oh,
So
without doubt.
I mean, he's so versatile. But yeah, number 5 for me, Mark Wahlberg and The Other Guys.
Well, and one of my favorite movies of all time for his was and forgive me because I can't remember the name of it to save my life, even though it was one of my is the one with him and Rose Byrne with the adoptive kids when they're trying to adopt a family.
Instant Family.
Instant Family.
Yeah.
So fucking
So
good.
good.
It's so funny. It's a comedy and there's
Yeah.
a lot of comedy in it, but there's just that touch of drama that he brings to it that makes it real
Yeah.
and kind of it's brilliant. It's brilliant, but
It's
he's
great.
hilarious throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's fucking hilarious. So good pick. Good pick. My number 5 is Renee Zellweger as Judy Garland in Judy. Now, Renee was like, you know, you're talking Jerry Maguire, the Bridget Jones Diaries, and like all that kind of stuff. Known for romantic comedies and comedy, love story, kind of goofy stuff, right? Well, Judy Garland, if you know the tragic story of Judy Garland, anything but a comedy. I mean, this was a tragic story of a beloved actress who went through just terrible times, ended up becoming a pill addict and a drunk and you know, dying young. And I was blown away at Renee Zellweger's performance as Judy Garland. There's a reason why she was nominated for an Oscar for it. It was unreal. At no point ever are you even thinking about Jerry Maguire. You lose all of Renee and it's Judy. It was that powerful. And I think there was a risk there because she has done these movies and then she disappeared for a little while. And everybody's like, where is she? What's she doing? Is she going to make a big cut? There was talks of another Bridget, is it Bridget Jones? I think it's Bridget Jones.
Yeah, the one with Hugh Grant.
Yeah,
and
yeah. And if it's not, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. But there was talks of another one of those. And like, so everybody was waiting for the big comeback in the kind of comedy, romantic comedy space. And it was Judy.
Yeah.
And they were like, holy shit.
Whoa.
But she was phenomenal. I was just literally blown away. And when they first announced it, I was like, Renee Zellweger? Like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
But I was wrong. Way fucking way. She nailed it. And it was, if you haven't checked it out, it's disturbing.
It is.
It is. It goes deep into Judy Garland's troubled past and life. And it's kind of really sad, but unbelievable performance by Renee Zellweger. So
for sure. Good pick, man. Good pick. Number 4 for me goes to Melissa McCarthy in The Starling. Now, if you guys haven't seen this one, basically she loses a child. She is a potential mother, or a mother who loses a child, I should say. And just the dramatic take that, you know, that's so relevant to a lot of women. A lot of women can connect to that because there's so many women who have mixed miscarriages or babies who die of SIDS, like my mother did. And like, it's just all of these different things that women can relate to in this film. And you always got that little bit of, you know, dramatic takes from her when she does, like, because she's basically known for a lot of comedies. But you always got those little dramatic takes from her when she was like in Gilmore Girls
Yeah.
and like The Kitchen, which was like a hard trying to be like a mobster movie. But I feel like, she doesn't get enough recognition. And again, like my number 5, she doesn't get enough opportunities to play those dramatic roles because she is absolutely phenomenal. She had one that came out that something intelligent, basically where she kind of fell in love with AI.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
on HBO Max. It was like an HBO Max original, peak pandemic, and it was a dramedy, but I mean, it had those dramatic takes because she has those powers, as you could say, to make people cry. And I'm super excited to see what she does with Ursula
Well,
because
yeah,
I
that's
mean, she is a phenomenal actress, and I mean, that dramatic take and that evil take, because she's such a good person, that evil take on a character to see what she'll bring to the table.
yeah, no, that's exactly. It's another transition, right? Type against she's known for comedy. She was type against that with the drama. Now she's being a villain,
Yeah.
which she's so. But I will say, I'm glad you brought up Gilmore Girls because there were always hints of her dramatic flair. You
Mhm.
knew she could pull off a dramatic role because every now and then Suki would have something delicious to like
Oh yeah.
chew on dramatically, and you could tell it was there. So I'm glad somebody finally was like, let's put this woman in a drama
Mhm.
because it was there, needed to be. Speaking of, let's put this woman in a drama, and everybody freaked the fuck out when they're like, what? No way, don't do it, you're insane. But they did it anyway. I'm talking about the beloved Mary Tyler Moore in Ordinary People as Beth Jarrett. Look, guys, when the decision was made to cast Mary Tyler Moore in this role, people lost their shit. They're like, this is Mary Tyler Moore. This is fucking Dick Van Dyke Show and the Mary Tyler Moore Show. She's beloved Mary from comedies that everybody loves. Nobody wants to see her as this dark, evil, kind of like you hate her person. They did it anyway, and it was massively huge and successful. Like, so to set it up, it's about this family, and their eldest son dies tragically, and the family goes into this like hole basically, and they're all trying to move on, but Beth becomes very distant
Mm.
and closed off, and almost emotionless, and people are like, what a fucking bitch.
Mm.
She doesn't mourn the loss of her kid, and she's treating her family like shit, and it's like she doesn't even love them anymore, and she's just like this mean, cold person, like a soulless person. And you're thinking, Mary fucking Tyler Moore, heartless with no soul? It's fucking impossible. But holy shit, she fucking nailed it. And look, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you know anything about Mary and her real life, she battled alcoholism, and for quite some time battled alcoholism. It was a real problem, and she had a very turbulent life for a little while. And I think she brought a lot of that to the role. And I think that the people behind Ordinary People knew that. I think they were banking on that she was going to be able to bring some of that experience to this character. And it was a phenomenal performance. And for anybody out there that doesn't know, you maybe have heard me talk about this before. I was so blessed and fortunate to be able to talk to this woman and become friends with her for a little bit. And I'm just blown away. It's still, we chatted about this very thing. She's like, what do you know me from? The Dick Van Dyke Show? What do you, and I'm like, Ordinary People. Like, it's like, what the fuck? But yeah, it's just, yeah, it was definitely type against cast, and it was a huge success. So boom.
For sure, there it is. And number 3 for me goes to Emma Stone, of course, going from Zombieland to The Help
Mm.
and La La Land, and Birdman, which I haven't
Yeah.
seen yet.
Oh my
But I
gosh.
mean,
But yeah.
but she's so versatile as well, because it's not only Zombieland, but she was starring in like those teenage comedies, with like Easy A, and I believe she was in Superbad, and like all of these different like teenage comedies, stoner flicks, different things like that. But then she comes to The Help. She comes to The Favorite. She comes to La La Land and just like knocks all of these roles out of the park to the point where you're like, okay, we need to start taking her more seriously. Like she can act her ass off. Excuse my French, but like, I mean, it's just an amazing thing to see that transformation in an actress that, sometimes they stick to that genre and then they fade away. But it's awesome to see the evolution of some amazing talent that comes from a certain place and continues to move towards something different. That's how they're going to have longevity in the entertainment industry, because they're not afraid of a challenge and they're always moving forward. Like we talk about all the time. That's how you continue to grow and gain more success in this industry. So that's why Emma Stone at number 3, from comedy to these beautiful, amazing dramas and musicals for La La Land.
I can't disagree with any of that.
Yeah.
That was all. I sincerely hope that you will watch Birdman.
I want to. It's not on a streamer.
Her performance in Birdman is unfucking believable. The only issue that I think you might have is that the majority of her scenes are with one of your favorite actors, Ed Norton.
Yeah.
And if you are a fan of the show, you know exactly what I mean by that. So, but watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Watch it anyway, because it's freaking good.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 3 is one that I think everybody was kind of like, what? And we talked about it. He kind of spoiled it for you at the top, but I'm going to say it's Steve Carell.
Yes.
And the role that I chose in the movie that I chose is when he plays John DuPont from Foxcatcher. This is with Channing Tatum. Remember, it's this wrestling movie where he is like this dark, disturbing coach that has this twisted fascination with the wrestler that goes, let's just say, over the line, becomes a little bit more than it's supposed to. And it's a very dark, twisted, the makeup, the transformation that he makes physically in this movie. It's just, you have to double take. You're like, the first time you see it, it's like, is that Steve Carell? Like, you have to even guess, is that him? It's so dark and it's so, and prior to this, it's literally like Steve Carell is The Office, and from Bruce Almighty was, when he's playing the anchor.
Yeah, like
that's
40-year version. Like
that's all you think. And then you see this movie and you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
This guy's an actual actor. This guy can act. And it just seems like that was the launch pad for like all these, most recently, The Patient.
Oh, man.
Like, oh my God. If you
So
haven't
good.
seen that, when he's like a therapist that gets kidnapped by his psycho patient, and holy shit. But he's just so dramatic now. Occasionally he'll pepper in a comedy somewhere every now and then, but it's more dramatic roles now. And I love that. I think this, like you were just saying, it's that growth. It's showing that, guys, I am an actor and I can do all kinds of stuff, not just this. And I think, unfortunately, I think sometimes some of these actors think it's necessary to go against type because they've been typecast as you only do this or you only do that. And they're like, hey, woohoo, somebody fucking put me in something to show that I can do something different.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the people behind Foxcatcher are like, let's get Steve Carell to play this psychopath.
Right.
And it was brilliant. So
sad part is that's a true story.
That's even more terrifying that it's true. Yeah.
Check out that one. But yeah, I mean, so many hilarious ones, like Anchorman.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
fucking,
like, oh my gosh, that scene where he's just it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like again, Will Ferrell with that slapstick humor, man. He's so good. Number 2 for me, I got the name wrong on our
that's what I was looking at. I'm like,
I
this
got
isn't
the name.
right.
I realized it. But number 2 for me goes to Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Yes.
That movie blew me away. This guy, he's known for all of his Happy Madison production, which is like some of the best comedies of all time. Let's be honest about it. I mean, you got Waterboy, you have Billy Madison, you have like all of these different things, 50 First Dates, all these different things. But then you got this one, which is just this nonstop thrill ride of like, let's be honest about it, not really a good guy, but you want him to win because his family are good people. And you're just like, just be a family guy. Quit fucking throwing your fucking money away at like sports bets. But like, and he gets involved with the mob and like loan sharks and like all this different stuff. And
KG.
So freaking good, man. Like it was amazing movie. I believe it was nominated for one of the Oscar categories. I
It
don't
was.
remember which one. But it leads him into another movie called Hustle, I believe, the
Yeah.
basketball one on Netflix. That's a really good drama as well, but I wanted to just stick to this one because it was such that dramatic twist that really no one was expecting. And I mean, they shot this thing a while ago, and then like to finally be able to put it out there, and people were blown away. And our theater that we went to was like packed with a whole bunch of different age demographics,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
like it was amazing things to see. So I mean, goes down as one of the best comedians of all time, but he is a brilliant dramatic actor as well. So Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and there's another one too, and I'm being horrible at remembering names today, but he started it with Jennifer Garner, and it was a dramatic. Yeah, it was very, very good movie. If you can find that one, it's really good too. Man, my number 2 terrified me, literally terrified me. I'm talking about beloved Mork from Mork and Mindy. I'm talking about Good Morning Vietnam. I'm talking about Patch Adams. I'm talking about like just all of the amazing comedic, yet sometimes dramatic roles, right? Like with Patch and if Robin Williams, we know him, we love him. We know he's one of the best comics of all time, right? We saw the drama with Dead Poet Society, but he's basically always a good guy. Good Will Hunting, he's like a good guy, you know. And then there's this movie, 1 Hour Photo, where old Robin plays Seymour. Holy shit. He is one of the most terrifying on-screen villains I've ever seen, and played brilliantly by Robin Williams. This is a guy who's basically an old guy, like maybe late 50s, early 60s. He's been working at a mall photo booth for like, you know, processing place for like ever. And he basically stalks all the people by looking through their photos as he's developing and everything. And he becomes obsessed with this one family, and like overly obsessed with this. And he starts having a relationship with them, and like very friendly with them and everything. And then the husband, like, I guess the best way, mistreats the wife. And Seymour's having no fucking part of that. And he exacts revenge tries to take over the family because he's basically in love with this woman and her family. And he's psychotic. I mean, when he's alone in the lab and he's just looking at pictures and like obsessing over like this, it's terrifying. And the whole time, it's like, this is Robin fucking Williams. Like, where's the joke? Where is the, like, you know, it was like the first time that you could just tell. And again, maybe like the same thing with Mary Tyler Moore. Maybe this role was so convincing and so terrifying because he was bringing a lot of that stuff that we had no idea was going on in his real life, the things that he was going through, the things that he was feeling. I'm talking about the pain and the things that led to his eventual suicide. Maybe there was some of that in there, that you know, this isolation, this guy that's just feels like he's got, you know, it was terrifying. If you want to see Robin Williams in a way you have never seen him before, watch 1 Hour Photo. And when I first saw this, because it was around the same time, it really fucking pissed me off that Tim Burton walked away and Joel Schumacher came in with the fucking nipples and all that shit. What the fuck? So Jim Carrey got the role, obviously, and it was over the top crazy as the Riddler. But Burton's plan was Robin Williams as the Riddler, as more of a Paul Dano version, a complete psychopath, manipulative, cold villain that was leaving clues as he's like serial killing these people with Keaton's Batman. That would have been fucking epic. After I watched 1 Hour Photo, I was so pissed that did not happen.
Right.
I'm like, no, he could have played the fucking Riddler so goddamn good. But it was like, oh well, wishes, right?
That's so funny. I mean, yeah, man. That was so
You just
hard.
don't see
That one,
like
yeah.
think Robin Williams as a psychopath villain.
You really don't. You really don't. Number one for me is definitely a conversation starter, and has, you know, some interesting takes on things. But I'm talking about Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, because unbeknownst to me, I don't. Hey, has he ever done a comedy before then?
Oh,
See, I mean,
yeah.
I've never seen any of those. So to see him, all I've known him from is very dramatic performances after his resurgence into the limelight. But I mean, to see this, I was like, what the actual fuck am I watching? And just dying laughing. But I just loved the way that he was able to approach such a comedic situation, because that's what comedy is. It's not necessarily always right. It's not politically correct. And it's just that it makes you laugh, and it's stereotypical. And I mean, we need to laugh at things more. So I feel like that is a prime example of what this film does. But kind of puts a mirror up to society and just like, stop taking yourself so seriously. So that's why I wanted to put it on my list. I know it is controversial, but I loved his performance in that. And it is what it is. He's still here. He's still rocking and rolling. Can't cancel RDJ, baby.
No, and it's so funny that every now and then the generations come, right? Because I thought you had him on the list because being typecast as a black person, and like, how do you cast a white person as a black person? That's where I thought you were going with it. And then you were like, no, he's comedy. Well, he's not. So there was the generation gap right there.
Yeah.
But I love that because, and I guess both work because it was a controversy. It's like, why the hell are we casting Robert Downey Jr. as a black man? Like it was like, what
Yeah, exactly.
is going on? But, and I'm just going to be honest with it. In today's culture,
You can't do it.
this movie would never get made. It makes fun of mentally challenged people.
Yeah.
It makes fun of basically, I mean, casting a white, it's the stereotypical, all the black jokes, this movie would never get made today.
No.
So yeah, it's definitely out there. And can we forget, you bringing that up just makes me another person cast against type. Fucking Tom Cruise is Les Grossman, the producer in that movie. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Everybody had to look, is that even Tom Cruise?
Exactly.
It's like, what the fuck? If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you've never seen that, look that up.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking crazy.
So funny.
Oh, okay, my number one had to be on the list. It's the obvious. I think the one that everybody was like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm talking about my man, the one and only Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne Batman. When this was announced, I can't even tell you how much shit hit the fan. Everybody fucking freaked out about how dare you put this goofy ass comedian in the role of the Dark Knight. We don't want another 60s Batman campy shit. This is supposed to be dark. This is supposed to be the Batman. This is supposed to be, and every excuse in the book about why this was the most horrible choice and Tim Burton should be fired and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I got two words for you. I'm Batman. That's it. He is the definitive Batman. Every Batman since him has copied that Batman, and to their credit, well, but it's still stemming from him. And every review that you are reading right now about The Flash, everyone that I am seeing so far from the people who have seen it are now saying he is the definitive Batman. This marks him, returns him as past Christian Bale again. And I know you will, but these people are saying it, and it's not even just me. Returns him definitively as the Batman. And I mean, you can't argue. It was the most brilliant casting move by Tim Burton. And it's so funny because right around that time is fucking Beetlejuice. And they're like, you're cast fucking Beetlejuice as Batman? Like, why didn't we just put Adam West back behind the cowl? Like, what the fuck were you thinking? But it's so goddamn good. Like, and now, I mean, like for me, anybody my age, right? Like Kevin Smith, like all these people, he is Batman. And it's just like, it was the most brilliant casting move Warner Brothers, I think, pulled off in still up from that point now all the way up. It's probably still the most brilliant casting move that they have made. It was just, it worked. It was phenomenal. And he is Batman. That's all I'm saying.
Can I see the birth certificate of these people saying this? That's all I want to know. That's what I want to know.
I'm serious. Go look it up. Look it up.
That's
I'm serious.
funny.
I'll pull it up right now. There's like everywhere.
It's so funny. Well, listen, guys, we want to know, what is your favorite performance by an actor that goes against their stereotypical genre. Please be sure to comment below in the comment section or add us on Twitter at
Yes.
JLoganAustin or at CrazyAntCEO. We want to know what your thoughts and opinions are. We absolutely
Yeah, because
love
this
it.
was a tough one. So I'd love to hear what people out there are thinking.
It really was, man. Well, now heading over to the box office recap. Of course, Guardians of the Galaxy swooped in and took everything away for the second week in a row. And I mean, they brought in about $60.5 million at the box office,
Which was far better than expected. They were expecting another massive drop off. Everybody, Marvel's dead. It's the end of superhero movies. And it way outperformed. So
fuck you.
Thank you, James Gunn.
Exactly. The Super Mario Brothers movie, it came in at number 2 with 13 million. Number 3 was Book Club, The Next Chapter, with 6.5 million. Evil Dead Rise was at number 4 with 3.7 million. And Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret came in at number 5 with 2.5 million.
I love that Evil Dead Rise is still hanging around.
It really is. I'm surprised.
I still have to see it.
New movies you can go see this week is Fast X, the one that's never going to end. They're going to be continuing to make these movies after we're long gone. AI is going to take after these freaking characters or after these actors. But it doesn't look like anyone else is even bothering to compete with a franchise about cars and explosions and family. So there it is, man. That makes sense. It makes sense. I'm super excited about next week, though, because one of my favorite comedians, Bert Kreischer, he's got a movie coming out about his life, and Mark Hamill's his dad, and it's called The Machine, and I'm super freaking excited. I'm actually going on Thursday to a live screening event because the movie is like originally like a hour 47, but after the movie he's doing like a live stream to all the theaters, and he's going to be like doing a type of thing. So
it's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go at like 9:00 at night though, so that sucks.
Hey.
That's fine though. It's passion. It's all about the passion.
Yeah, and I love Fast X. It's like, how do you compete when a Marvel movie is also in the theaters with you? By stacking your fucking movie with Marvel actors.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. I mean, that's how you compete. How do I knock off a Marvel movie from number 1? Let's throw in Marvel people.
For sure.
It's
And
so
I mean,
fucking crazy,
Vin
man.
Diesel just kind of used Groot as a networking plan.
He
so
did.
He could try to get in there.
He literally was like, went up to Brie Larson. I am Groot. Okay, I'll do Fast X.
Cool,
Like,
cool, cool.
like, what the fuck, man?
Movies you can still go see right now. Hypnotic. Did you see that one?
If I did, I don't remember. Maybe I'm hypnotized.
Exactly. Might go down as Ben Affleck's worst performance at the box office. I don't know if it's a good movie or not, but just no one is seeing it.
Stick to directing.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal, he is an Oscar-winning director. That's
Literally.
all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Just stick to that.
Yeah.
Let Damon do the acting.
Yeah, seriously. John Wick Chapter 4, Love Again, Air, and Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. So get out to your local cinemas this weekend and check out all of those films.
Air. That's
Air.
a brilliant example of brilliant directing and brilliant acting by Affleck and Damon.
Exactly. Well, IMDbPro, this makes sense. The trending segment, the top trending movie is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Duh. CeeLo is the top trending TV show. We got to look up to see what that one is. And oh man, Corey, I'm
gonna go with Milcreased.
Milcreased. I wanted to put a little accent on there, just make it nice and
yeah, sure.
nice and foreign. But man, yeah, we're trying to look up on the handy dandy freaking app to see what
the Sandman. He's currently in the Sandman.
Oh, interesting. It's that Netflix one, right?
Yes, and Queen Charlotte.
Yeah, and Queen Charlotte.
A Bridgerton story. So
Yes,
that makes sense. Okay, that makes total sense.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
sure.
what. Let's see what Silo is.
Yeah, let's see because yeah, I mean, sometimes content gets made and put out there that nobody really markets, like Hypnotized.
That's right. So it's on AMC.
Okay.
It's about men and women living a job. Oh, this is that one where they all live underground.
Oh,
And it's like they've never been up to the
interesting.
top or whatever. I've seen it's Rebecca Ferguson and Caitlin Zoe, Tim Robbins. I've seen the previews for this one. It does look a little creepy, but okay.
Nice.
All right,
Sounds
yeah.
interesting.
So I have heard of it. I just didn't know the name of it was Silo.
There you go.
Fair enough.
There you go.
IMDbPro.
That's why
it's
you
the
need it.
Bible of the industry.
That's why you need it. Hey, you got little fingerprints on your phone, so you might want to. I'm just saying, he gets super anal about that shit. So I'm just letting you know.
I am constantly cleaning it.
Yeah, it's so
That's
funny.
my real hand, by the way.
It really
That's
is.
my real hand. That's where the fingerprints come from.
Oh
Look,
my
I'm
God,
duplicating it.
literally. Oh my goodness, guys. Well, thank you so much for getting crazy with us on episode 225. We
Oh
got
my
to thank our
gosh.
guest one more time, Robert McCollum, for coming
Yes.
on the show. What a great guy. Be sure to follow him on Instagram and Twitter, mainly on Instagram, though. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all the good places,
Yes,
social
please.
media, at Crazy Ant Media, at ITCAFpodcast, and the Mental Health Podcast. Everything's OKP. And you guys know you can follow us both on social media. Myself at J Logan Austin, anywhere and everywhere, and
At Crazy Ant CEO, anywhere and everywhere.
yeah, buddy. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. We're anywhere and everywhere when it comes to podcasting with this podcast. And you guys know you can visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We've got a whole bunch of different options now. They don't stick to one particular brand. We have so many different brands of t-shirts. We have pajama sets. We have mugs. We have bigger mugs than this now. We have upgraded to this size mug, and don't worry, he will be getting
Mine
one
is
soon.
I'm ordering this weekend.
Yeah,
I am
don't
ordering this
worry.
weekend because I need a big mug.
He does need a big mug. This small one, it ain't cutting it for him.
I was finished before we get through the first two industry news
Yeah,
stories.
he was like, "Arr." But you guys have to follow us so you can stay up to date with the promo sales, so you can get some stuff at a cheaper price. We know the craziness with inflation, so you got to stay up to date.
That's right.
Oh man, but I mean, it's always good to be able to talk about all the stuff that is happening in Hollywood, because like we said, it's going to get very intense very quick over these next couple weeks with all the unions falling in line. So I'm very curious to see how they will all present themselves as a united front, and who will quote unquote cave first, to see who will try to go back to work first, at least.
Oh,
So,
without doubt.
again, I'm predicting SAG-AFTRA. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I have no faith in Fran.
No. I mean, I think she dug her own grave. I don't think she'll be president next
I was
time.
about to say, I think she's one term.
I think for sure. I mean, I thought Gabrielle Cateris was divisive, but apparently Fran is even worse. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I don't know Fran other than the
Right,
nanny.
yeah.
It's just she's probably a gem of a person. I have no idea.
Yeah, we're
I'm
just talking about the politics and the outsource of talking about certain situations.
Yeah, I mean, if you love her, you love her, but it's clear just based on what we see that at least half the people don't. I'm just saying. I will say though, and I want to go out there on a record and say this. Crazy Ant Media, myself and Logan and everybody affiliated within our company, we support you. Stay strong, writers, actors, directors, crew people, everybody above the line, below the line. We are with you 1000%. We support you guys in this fight. I think it's the right fight. I know it's hard. I know it's challenging, especially for a lot of people that are on those picket lines and not getting paid right now and making sacrifices. But just know that we are with you. We support you. And we cannot stand behind you enough. We think this is the right move, and stay strong, guys. It's so crucial.
Yeah, we do have a shirt that says WGA Strong, that all proceeds that will be bought for that shirt will be sent immediately to WGA and supporting the fight. So
absolutely.
it is it's very important, man. It's very
And
important.
I want to say this also. I'm so excited about it's been an unbelievable first quarter and half into the second quarter at the company right now. We've got so many amazing things going on right now, guys. First of all, the Everything's Okay podcast. We've got some just amazing stuff coming up. We've got a really special episode coming up with Logan and his mom. They have an intimate conversation one-on-one. And it's definitely something you do not want to miss. It was inspired. It's a little subcategory of the mental health. I'm going to be doing one as well that's going to be coming up, and I'm going to be speaking with someone that you may not know exists. So that's a little tease right there. Trust me, though, you do not want to miss Logan and his mom's conversation. It gets really deep and intense. Little warning, but it's so so good and I think necessary. We've also got one coming up about toxic workplaces. Who
doesn't have
who hasn't experienced that before? So we're really excited about that one. And then big announcements coming soon, guys. We are in pre-production on our next film. We're so excited about that. Wait until you see the cast for this film, guys. It's going to be an amazing cast. We're super excited about that. We're elevating the game. We're going to be shooting in Atlanta. We're super pumped about that. Just everything going on right with that. We're still working out. We're still hammering out stuff on the series. We're in development in the drama series, the animated series. Just so much going on. And of course, this show.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm loving life right now. We've got so much stuff going on and we're just surrounded by so many amazing people and supportive people that are helping with it. And we've got the move coming up. We're going to be relocating the company coming up. It's amazing. It's an amazing time. And I just wanted to put that out there because I'm just so happy to be able to do this and to do what we do. And it's an amazing time in life, guys. And I can't say this enough. If you are not out there chasing your dreams and working hard to make it happen, why not do it? Anything is possible. And we're here for you guys. We support you. We want to inspire you. Get out there, live the dream, no matter what it is. Just get out there and do it, man.
For sure. It's a beautiful thing and it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding.
It is.
I love it. I love it. And you know who else we love? The one, the only
Oprah.